Hey, I'm Ryan Gregg, the Faith and Culture editor for faithvillage.com. Today I'm here with Sean Carter. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, man.
For an on-the-couch interview. So today we're going to talk some about your newest project. It's called The Telling. I was introduced to your music through a friend, actually, is the one who told me about you. And the thing that really struck me was that it's very artful. It's very it's worshipful, but it's very creative, and it was just really different from a lot of the worship music I'd heard. So that's a little bit about Sean, but I wanted to know if you would just tell people a little bit about you and how you got into music, worship leading.
Well, I started leading worship right out of high school, which was about 10 or 12 or so years ago. I lose track. And just came to Christ radically, kind of through a youth camp situation, like so many people do, and then just started. I played guitar and sang, and I just started jumping in, leading worship. And worship leading for me was just like, I didn't really know what to do, how to do this, and had no training. Never really grew up in church, so it was just kind of, I probably was too young to even start leading, too young in faith, but I just like, God, I love you, and I'm just going to worship you, adore you, and call people into that. And then as years progressed, I kind of jumped into theology and all of that, and so anyway, years later, I'm just leading worship at a church here in Dallas, part of the time, and part of the other time just kind of filling in, playing in other places. And
well, what about, I guess I wonder, as like the worship leading side versus the artistic side, how do you feel like you balance both? Because we were talking at lunch last week about this, and about, that you said it can be a challenge to be, if you're too artful, it can be a bad thing because you want it to be accessible.
Well, I started a kind of an alternate venue at my church that was going to be kind of arts minded, and so I just kind of took the ball and ran with it, so to speak. And after a Christmas series where we started each week with a song in Latin and did a lot of different types of instruments and creative things, we realized, wow, this was really fun and really awesome as far as the artist is concerned. But we realized, man, it was almost too much for a congregation to kind of digest. When you're wired as an artist to want to create art, but you're also, and all of my art as an artist is an act of worship. But as a congregational leader, you can't do the same thing with art, with the art side of things, because it's kind of like art and a painting is something that you experience by looking at a wall, at that thing on the wall. You want people essentially to kind of paint with you, if you use the metaphor. So you have to do what it takes musically for them to access it, to sing along and push those boundaries, but just take them the next step. When you look at the hymn writers, they would use a lot of metaphor instead of just kind of saying surface things. The things that grab me about hymns in particular are things like could we with ink the ocean fill, where the skies are, the writer will take a metaphor and say we're all writers, the ocean is ink, the sky is a scroll, and that's what it takes to explain the love of God, rather than say God's love is amazing and big and huge. It becomes descriptive.
I know you've been involved with Art House Dallas.
Yeah.
How's that, like the community side of that, how's that been for you? I know you talked about helping other people kind of come into their own as far as artists.
For me, as an artist, I'll tend to not be as social, or there's social times, but then there's times where you just kind of hide away with your art. And we need, as artist communities, and Art House Dallas here has been a great way for artists to kind of come and get to know each other, to share their art, to share their songs. They do a lot of different things just to kind of build relationships and kind of pull people out of their secret artist creative spaces, which is important. We need community, and we need feedback from one another, and we need some things to break down those barriers. And so Art House has been a really great thing. I keep pointing other people that I meet, artists, worship leaders, to that type of environment.